the setting up delay. First, I would like to thank the organizer of the forum for inviting me, so that I have the opportunity here to make a keynote speech on behalf of Mars. The title of my speech is How to Scale Innovation. Before I start, I would like to make a little bit follow-up comments to what the moderator said, and you can also see it in the folders of the forum. I have been in R&D for 18 years, but I've been doing mainly three things. For the first 6 years, I developed detergent, and then pet food, and now it's chocolate. And so far, I've been enjoying this job because at least it tastes better than the two previous products. So I really enjoy this industry. I have 45 minutes. I think the clock is ticking already. I will take about 10 minutes to talk about Mars, and then I will spend the rest of the time to share with you how we scale our innovation in Mars. And then I will have 5 minutes for Q&A. Since the schedule is very tight, and I will leave tomorrow, so you can also ask me questions later. First, a brief introduction to Mars. I'm sure all of you know this company. This is a leading food company. The company was founded in 1911. We have 6 major business units, including chocolate, pet food, chocolate, sweets, staple food, drinks, and the other thing that you do not know very well is bioscience. Our annual revenue is about $33 billion, and we have about 80,000 employees. If you ask me about what is different here in Mars, I would say that Mars is a private family business, and Mars made this decision consciously. The reason it chose consciously that to be a private family business is that we want to have decision power, and we also hope that this kind of decision power is long-term, and so that we make our decisions on long-term goals. On the right, what you see here is the goal or vision of the company set by our founder in 1947 that I will not elaborate here. As I said earlier, we have 6 major business units, and there are lots of brands under those business units, among which 11 of the brands have sales revenue over $11 billion, and lots of those brands are already in China. Mars is the first chocolate company or food company that entered into China. Major businesses we have in China include 4 parts: chocolate, pet food, gum, sweets, and drinks. We have 7 factories in China, 3 R&D centers with employees about 13,000 in China. We are very proud that those businesses that Mars has in China has enjoyed very good growth, especially in chocolate, pets, and gums. We are leading business in those sectors. And this is something I must share with you. This is the most important differentiator of Mars. These 5 principles were set by our founders, by the Mars families. at the very beginning. These are the cornerstone of the culture of the company. As I said earlier, that Mars was founded in 1911. Over 100 years of history, we experienced several financial crises. I believe that in the 1930s and 1950s, with those recessions, we've experienced a lot, and we also experienced some M&As. But those are 5 principles are the most important reasons why we have been growing for over 100 years, and these are the principles that we must put as our priorities. I will not elaborate each of those 5 principles, but one thing I would like to talk about here is mutuality. Mars believe that only shared interests are sustainable and long term. So with our customers and suppliers as well as our partners, we insist on this principle of mutuality. We have a SQA department, Supply Quality Assurance Department. One of the major job responsibilities of this department is to improve the product quality of our suppliers by working together with the suppliers. When there is a problem with the materials, we will work together with the suppliers to find out the reason instead of trying to point fingers at anyone. I believe that this kind of practice itself is a very good sign of mutuality. The other principle I want to talk about is freedom. As I said, that we are a private family business, so that our decisions are long-term instead of short-term for only 1 or 2 years business goals. I believe food safety has always been a hot topic, not only in China, but around the world. Last year, in Beijing, we set up the first global food safety center that is across sectors. This is the first for Mars, with a total investment of $15 million, which is about 100 million RMB. The reason why the center was set up in China, there are several reasons for that. One is that the China market is very important and is growing for Mars and with a very good future prospect. And second, we hope that by setting up this center in China, it will help us to work with the government, the relevant universities and research institutes, including our competitors, that we will be able to work together to develop some analysis methods, so that together we can increase our management level or capabilities of food safety. And this is a center that is open both for Mars, but also open to the outsiders. So if you come to Beijing, we welcome you to come to visit our center. Actually, this week, this Global Food Safety Center is holding a forum, a global forum, where we have internal and external participants, experts, to come and share their views on the present, the past, and the future of food safety. During the last panel discussion, we talked about the supply chain. If you look at our supply chain, as a responsible company, what we need to do is to make sure that our supply chain is sustainable. Madam Shi, in our forum friend, all talk about cocoa. What I want to say is that cocoa is one of the most important ingredients of chocolates. However, the production and demand the output of the demand of cocoa in the world now has a huge gap. Most of the cocoa is from South Africa, but South Africa is affected by the political instability, disasters, or pestilence, as well as a few farmers that are planting cocoa. So both the quantity and quality of cocoa in the world is decreasing, is going down. For Mars, we want to first make sure the supply from West Africa, but also in Southeast Asia, in Indonesia and Vietnam, we set up some cocoa development groups, which is based on villages, or which is based on villages or towns. And through those groups, we provide good seeds to those farmers and train them and tell them how to prevent all kinds of pests, and so that the yield of farmers can be improved. We also have lots of charitable work that we do locally. If you go there, you'll find that cocoa farmers are facing a very difficult life. And so we help them by supporting their children's education. For example, in the past 2 to 3 years, I went to some of the cocoa farms in Indonesia. Based on my experience in the past 2 to 3 years, I could see the improvement of their lives, and I could see their enthusiasm in growing cocoa, and I did see the smiles on their face. So I'm very proud and happy for them. As a food company, a chocolate company, that is a very important responsibility for us. These are our own factories. Not just our suppliers' factories, our factories are also sustainable. We built up some new factories in China, and they won the LEED Gold Award. I don't know if you know LEED. LEED means Leadership in Energy and Environment Design. It is a very high requirement for carbon emission and ingredient sources and the treatment and the emission of wastewater, etc.
And all of our newly built factories have won the LEED accreditation. For consumers, we also need to be responsible. Mars is the first company that signed marketing code. That is to say, we promise that we will not advertise towards kids under 12 on chocolate, because for kids under 12 are not able to resist delicious, tasty snacks. So we will only advertise to their parents. They need their parents to choose for them. If you find our products in supermarkets, you'll see that all of our products have nutrition labels, because people care about their health. When you eat a piece of chocolate, you must know how many calories I have taken and how much sugar I've taken. By putting very clear nutrition label, consumers will be able to become healthier. Moreover, we have a lot of local community activities, but I don't have time to elaborate on that. Now I want to talk about innovation. In the dialogue session, we already mentioned Innovation is a systematic project starting from the farm. For example, how are we able to help cocoa farmers? What kind of research or study can we conduct regarding the cocoa production? We have done a lot of research in terms of genetic research regarding cocoa, and then we decided to open the result of our study to the general public so that companies in the industry, other companies in this industry, can also grow better cocoa. This is the front end. In the rear end, we also have a lot of innovation regarding marketing. So innovation is not only about products, it's also about market channels, packaging, ingredients, etc. In Mars, we want to have global innovation. If we can do that, then we will enjoy economy of scale. Scalability is the key to successful innovation. So what do we mean by successful innovation? Why do we need scalability? Now you are all great R&D people. So I think you may have different definitions about successful innovation. You might have your own criteria. But I think a successful innovation, first of all, needs to meet the demands of consumers or clients and driving up our sales. At Mars, we always have this kind of challenge or difficulty. First of all, it's too time-consuming. If we want to have breakthrough innovation, it takes a lot of time. If we want to make smaller innovation, it also takes a lot of time. And we have to spend a lot of money. We have to hire or engage a lot of people. And the result might not be satisfactory. So the success rate is another big challenge. Sometimes the rate is too low. Another challenge. Sometimes, or often, the R&D department focuses only on incremental innovation. If we categorize R&D people, you'll find that most of them are working on smaller projects or incremental innovation projects, which will have very little contribution to our business. Just now I mentioned we have 11 brands worth more than $1 billion. And if we can apply a good innovation to all of our successful brands, then we will have a scalable effect. Second, we should focus on efficiency of innovation and then the quality or the success rate of innovation. I already talked about why we need innovation, but what is scalable innovation in Mars? To put it simply, one development, multiple applications. It has the following attributes. And I think they are quite obvious. First, we need to address common needs. If you are trying to meet different needs for different markets, then this innovation cannot be scalable. And if there's too much difference between different markets, then there might be something wrong with your brand imaging. Second, we should focus on the long run, on the long term, because there are a lot of short-term innovations in the market. In Mars, we have two models for scalable innovation. First, we call it best for one. Sometimes the innovation is, especially for one company, is very targeted. And this can also help other countries. For example, help other markets learn, so that other markets can reduce the time for their innovation. Second model, we call it great for all. Starting from the beginning, we want this innovation to be applied in multiple markets. These are the two models we are using at Mars. No matter which model you use, if you are able to enable local and global collaboration, then the innovation has a better chance of success. Mars is a company that delegates power. We do not have a global headquarters. So the first time I visited the headquarters in Mars, I typed in headquarters into the GPS, but I couldn't find the place because the sign of Mars headquarters was very inobvious. And I was very surprised. That was my first time trying to find the headquarters of Mars. So I asked my colleagues for the direction to the headquarters. So why Mars is like that? Because we want to give the authority, give the power to the local plants, to the local companies, because they know local markets the best. Directions should not be given by global headquarters. And I don't believe there's a such thing of global consumers. There's no such thing as global consumers. Consumers are located in different parts of the world. They are either Chinese or America or from other countries. There's no such thing as global consumer. So, our innovation model is very local. We call it local, global, and local. It starts from local, and then it goes into global, and then it drips down to local again. There are 4 stages. First, design. We have local operation. All the decisions are encouraged to be made locally. But we are a global company, we are a multinational. Take Dove, for example. We have Dove products in China, in the US, in Europe, in the UK. So we want to have a consistent and a global brand or product. That's why we need to have global strategy. This strategy needs to be formed by our team together. We invite leaders of Dove and Galaxy around the world, and they together draft the strategy of this product or this brand. The second stage is design. For example, If a market has a strong urge for innovation, then this market will be the leader of this product innovation. And this market is in charge of communication with other markets at critical points of the innovation. For example, maybe you need to introduce some adjustments in different markets. The third stage is develop or expansion. This is the basic procedure of our innovation. Many companies have the same procedure, but there is something unique in Mars. We have a global scale team which will be part of the innovation process from the beginning till the end. And they'll make sure once an innovation is successful, it can be applied to other parts of the world. I'll give you 2 examples later. I don't know whether other companies have this kind of team, global scale team. So what does this team do? The basic role of this team is to communicate, is to collect information, and to draft a global strategy and share that strategy with different local teams so that this innovation can be shared by other markets. Second, standardization. This team is responsible for setting up standards. Some companies have done a very good job in standardization. Take Mars, for example. We encourage local teams to make decisions. So standardization might be a big challenge. If local markets have the authority to make their decisions, take Dove products, for example. In China, in the US, in the UK, in Europe, in Middle East, in Africa, 60% of Dove products are similar, but 40% of them are different. Why? Because each market innovates. That might confuse consumers. Is it really Dove product? So standardization is the foundation of innovation. I'm not saying products or new products should be 100% the same, but it should be 70 to 80% same or similar. Only by having this level of standardization are we able to achieve scalable innovation. Third, the global scale team provides technical supports so that the success in one country, in one market, can be applied or can be learned and can be shared in other parts, in other markets. We also call this team Innovation Accelerator. They play a very important role in promoting innovation in our company. Now, 2 examples. First, Great for All, or addressing common needs. I don't know whether you've noticed or not, starting from last year, the logo of Dove and packaging of Dove in China changed. So that is part of our innovation. We found globally, Dove products have different packaging, have different logos. are different shapes. And we believed we need a global image for Dove. We need to reshape the brand image. So the first thing we need is to collect all the different packaging, all the different shapes of products, trying to make the products more standard or standard based. And then we designed a new logo, a new packaging in the UK. Why the UK? Because the UK company had a plan to upgrade its brand across different product lines. So we took this opportunity to launch a standardized logo for Dove globally. In the UK, we call this new brand Galaxy. We started this chain in 2012, and new products were launched in 2013 in Europe and 2014 in the Middle East and 2015 in China. So starting from the second half of 2015, Dove products on the shelf have already used new logos. That is the first example. Second, best for one. That means a certain market has a strong demand or strong need for certain new products. And then we develop new product for this market, and then this product can be expanded to other markets. This case started from the North American market. Then we started our R&D in North America. This is Dove fruit. You may find this product in China as well. We started our R&D in the US. Then it was launched in the US in 2014 with 3 flavors. And then we brought these products to China in 2015. If we ask the Chinese team to develop these products, it would take a very long period of time because this is a new category, different from our previous products. But because we had experiences in the US, so the Chinese team was able to learn from the US team in terms of ingredients, in terms of packaging, in terms of processes. As a result, we have reduced the time so that we can have an early launch of these new products in China. This is the second example, best for one. There's another example, which I didn't put in my slides. A product was designed in China. Do you know M&M bottle? Plastic bottle. That product was launched in China first, and then we launched the products in many parts of the world. I think this is another good example, best for one. China, in that case, was a leading country in terms of innovation. Then this innovation was brought to other parts of the world, other markets. This is my last slide, trying to sum up what I've said. I won't repeat. The keywords are like this. First, from local to global to local collaboration, and the 2 innovation models, best for one and great for all. These theories can not only be used for innovation, this can also be used to increase efficiency and reduce cost. These two theories are applied not only for innovation, but for other projects. For example, building market channels and promotion and marketing, etc. And finally, global scale team is a new concept for Mars. It was built in 2011. The team and innovation process management are very important lessons we've learned so that we are able to have scalable innovation. That concludes my presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Zhu. You talked about your 18 years of career, from detergent to dog's food to chocolate. Now the floor is open. Mr. Zhu. I'm from Baolingbao Biotechnology Company. I love Dove chocolate from Mars, and my kids love Dove very much. I cannot stop them from eating, but I can buy less, and I can restrain the amount they eat on a daily basis. Because it is very high in terms of calorie. So high sugar content and high calorie. In the morning, one of the speakers mentioned the future trends are low calorie and low sugar and more nutrient. And according to Ms. Shi, food products will be also focusing on less calorie and less sugar and more nutrients. Given this trend, Mr. Zhu, what will be the counter reactions or countermeasures from us? Thank you. Thank you for your question. This is a tough question. And it also a very painful question for us. It is true that chocolate always has very high sugar and high calories. So how can we make chocolate products healthier? How can we make sure that eating chocolate can keep people healthy and well? This is the first challenge. This is the priority in my company. First, we must make it known to the consumer that how many calories they have eaten. And we also make our products smaller and smaller. Sometimes you can eat one package of chocolate, just one bite, so that we can offer more choices for consumers. And we can also start from the basics, meaning having better ingredients with less sugar, with less calories. But it is very challenging. But we are doing that all the time. If you are a chocolate maker, you find if you reduce sugar content, then the flavor will be negatively impacted. Well, in the past, people may say, well, you can make sugarless chocolate, but if that is the case, nobody would want to eat chocolate. Of course, making chocolate healthier is a trend. Or maybe we can use another sweetener, providing the same level of sweetness, but with less calories. That might be a good choice. That's why we need to work with our suppliers. We need to work with research institutes on sugar or on sweeteners so that we can realize the shift or transition. This is what we are doing. Thank you. Any more questions? The last question. The question must be tough. Mr. Zhu, good afternoon. In the previous session, you mentioned the annual consumption, the per capita consumption in China is very low. So why is that the case? Can we use local, global, local model to resolve this challenge so that the consumption per capita of chocolate will be increased? That's a very good question. This is what we have been thinking about. Mr. Shi didn't tell you, but as a matter of fact, on annual basis, chocolate consumption per capita in China is only 150 grams. 150 grams. The number in the UK is 9,000 grams or 9,000 grams. In Japan, 7 kilograms. In the US, much more. So if we are able to increase per capita consumption from 150 to 2,000, then the total consumption will be greatly improved. So we are full of promises. But these numbers are also deceiving. Because China is such a big country. If you look at big cities such as Shanghai and Beijing, the annual consumption per capita is already very high. But a large number in Western or in Middle China eat very little chocolate. But in coastal cities in China, the category is already saturated. So with the help of the internet, we will have both challenges but great opportunities so that we can promote chocolate to more people, and we can provide better chocolate to chocolate lovers, providing them with more choices. So the number 150 is both a challenge but also a big opportunity, meaning the market potential is huge. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Zhu. Okay. One last question. A question about product innovation. In terms of innovation, there are two kinds: breakthrough innovation and evolutionary innovation. So what's your comments on these two kinds of innovation, breakthrough and incremental? And you also mentioned best for all and great for all. Are there different applications towards different kinds of innovations using different models? That's a good question. I think we're not perfect. You said there are two kinds of innovation: breakthroughs and evolutions. And different companies have different categories of innovation, but we can basically put them into two categories: breakthroughs and evolutions. In Mars, we also want to have incremental changes. For example, another flavor, another SKU, or maybe a small change in terms of packaging, but there are also breakthrough innovations as well. The model I talked to you about, best for one and great for all, I think for breakthrough innovations, we basically apply great for all model. Because if you want to make breakthrough innovation, it always takes a lot of time, and we hope that the time will be well spent, and the energy and the time we spend on this big innovation will not be wasted. So in the beginning, we need to set the direction right, and if the direction is right, then we'll use great for all model. In terms of incremental innovation or evolutionary innovation, we mainly use best for one model. But we are looking for more breakthrough innovation, or more innovation which can use great for all model. We'll keep doing that. So that we can strike a balance between the two. Thank you very much.